Hey, what the hell is up? This is a motherfucking 10-minute blast. It's a 10-minute blast. Yes. Yes. I might do this for the entire 10 minutes. No, I'm not going to do that to you guys. That would be genuinely fucked up of me if I just if I just menaced you for 10 straight minutes by going just completely creeped you guys out. I'm not going to do that. I am not going to creep you guys out. You know, it's funny. I've been out here kicking around doing my thing, and I feel like I've had the seeds of a couple, not even the seeds, I should say, flashes of what could have been good 10-minute blasts a couple times. I don't know why I'm even telling you guys this. It's just an admission of guilt on my part. Whatever. At the kid's birthday, we had to plan a bunch of shit. It was fun. At a kid's birthday, I got my first taste of adult inline skating racing, if that makes sense. Rollerblade racing, which I've never done. Well, I've probably rollerblade raced as a child, although I don't really remember a specific one. But I started. My inline skate racing career has started at the age of 40. I was at a child's birthday party, my child's. And, I skated, man. I raced. I raced against other guys, other adults. And, by the way, I had rental blades. They had been digging into my ankles. I'm not making excuses for, call it third or fourth place, but I say it was third place, but then there's like these kids that work there at the fucking rollerblading, roller skating rink or whatever. We had the birthday party. Dude, there's people out there that to this day, all they fucking do is rollerblade. And I'm not complaining. I'm not being a sore loser. Third place or third asterisk, third or fourth. It's bronze medal, depending on if I count this fucking teenage punk. He gave us all a head start and just... Dude, this kid could basically figure skate on rollerblades. And what the staff there would do is they would give all the people who are racing, trying to have a good time and participate against their peers in inline skating, their natural peers. They would give everyone a head start and then just humiliate everybody by coming in at with a half of a lap already gone and just blow everyone out of the water. A lady did it in the women's inline rollerblading racing, which my wife was participating in. She got absolutely humiliated by this fucking lady who worked there, which again, look, if you practice rollerblading all day, every day, I get it that you're going to want to flex on the race. But goddamn, man, you have fucking paying customers competing, trying to have a good time in front of their kids. That's just fucked up. Personally, I think that's a fucked up thing to do. My fucking daughters were watching, and this kid just humiliated all of us in the race, which, whatever. It wasn't about that. It was about the race. I had a good time. Man, dude, imagine it. There was a bunch of people at this party, a bunch of parents, a bunch of kids watching, and I got to really lay it on the line. I'm talking for myself on rollerblades, dangerously high speeds, cutting the corners. My ankles are still, the party was Saturday. It's now Wednesday. My ankles are still scabbed from these shit rental rollerblades, which, by the way, didn't have any padding. I'm not trying to complain. I'm telling you guys what happened. There was no padding on the blades. It was just plastic on fucking bone. And it was so bad that at one point, because it was every move, I was like, ouch, ouch, ouch. I went to the rollerblade rental and was like, yo, dude, I think my blades are defective. And they were like, no, we just got a new shipment of rental blades. You got to break them in. I'm like, you can't break it in. It's just plastic. There's no fucking padding. They'll never break in. So, hey, man, there's a business out there. I wouldn't look if you're out here trying to buy stocks. I would not buy stock currently in one of the roller skating facilities in the greater Austin area. And again, I wish them the best. I love the place, but whoever's doing their purchasing for their rental blades, yeah, man, we need to make changes because, it was a wall of these new rollerblades, and every adult I talked to who rented rollerblades was like, bro, my ankles are fucked. Deep cuts. I got what looks like, stigmata wounds on my goddamn ankles still to this day. They're not going to heal up till next week, man. So I would have liked to gone back this weekend and just participated in a quick race, but yeah, the race was good though. It was fun. I was talking about this a little bit when I got to talk to Joel McHale on Zoom, which was kind of fun. A Zoom chill with someone you've never met before. It's weird. I find it weirdly entertaining for myself because like you don't know this person at all, and it's on Zoom, and you just let them have like kind of some weird business and just see how they take it. I had a good time. Joel was really fun. But I was telling him on that, like, dude, like my daughter, man, she's like getting to that age where, you know, she wants to play with her friends. I thought we were going to roller skate. She's like so excited to be able to roller skate. I thought, you know, we were going to at least kind of like, you know, respectfully father-daughter couple skate. And, man, she wanted nothing to do with me the whole time. It really made me sad. And, you know, I was glad she was having fun with her friends. But, you know, there's a part of me that was like, damn, man, like, I'm out here shredding my fucking ankles, hoping we could hold hands and do a lap. And you're like, yo, dude, get the fuck away from me. Breaks your heart, although it's good. It's a good thing of it. It's a part of the process. But, man, that does kind of hurt your feelings. However, after the race, and, you know, again, she saw, like, everyone was watching, and I just really gave it my all. I wanted to win in honor of her birthday, and, you know, unfortunately, I came in third to fourth place, depending if you count that teenage punk who entered the race late and fucking smoked all of us. What a jerk. But it was fun, and after the race, my daughter was very stoked, and she did give me, I'd say, about three-quarters of a hold hand lap, and that was, you know, something I'll cherish forever. It was very sweet. But yeah, man, so that was cool. And what else, man? I don't know. You know, again, look, guys, when you don't see the 10-minute blast, just know that I'm either very busy or more likely in a deep, dark depression that they just kind of come for you every now and again. It happens, and, you know, story of my life, no big deal. However, I don't know. I still swear by leaving your brain alone and kind of just letting it do its thing and pop out of that, whatever that is, because I don't know. There's something kind of nice. It's like your brain just has kind of seasons, and you let it kind of, you know, you let yourself have a little winter, man. You know, I personally, again, everyone do what you got to do. I'm not, you know, whatever. Me personally, I like to go through my little seasons, man. I don't want to like fuck with my brain chemistry. It's probably, I don't think I have great brain chemistry, but also like, I don't know. There's something very sweet about having like kind of a mental spring post. And I wasn't like, you know, going to like fucking kill myself, but you can feel when you're just, the mojo is just, it's elsewhere. The mojo had left me, you know, I was very, very Austin Powers like. I had lost my mojo. I lose it every now and again for a couple weeks at a time. It just goes, it flies away. But there's something very sweet about it returning back to you, and you have this sort of mental spring that, you know, if I had been you know, chemically altering myself with that kind of medicine, I don't know that I would enjoy those little, you know, kind of coming back to yourself moments, or I would just feel great all the time. But I'd be in my head being like, am I really happy, or is my brain little tiny pool balls in the billiard balls in my brain? I just have more of them right now. What the hell's that all about? Whatever. I don't want to yuck anyone's yum if you're fucking flying off of antidepressants right now. God bless you. My whole point is like, you know, I just been stressed and tired and kind of depressed, and I'm like, you know, going about my day, and like, this is what I'm talking. These are the moments that kind of you get coming out of that I personally enjoy, because it also sucks too. Like when you have little kids and you just feel bummed, you're just like, you know, you can really crank the guilt up on yourself, or you're like, fuck, dude, you guys want me to have a tea party with you, but I don't want to move right now. But like, you just don't feel like you're doing that great. And today, you know, I had to take my kids to school. I'm dropping them off, and we're fucking late. And I'm like, hurry up, let's go. You know, I'm pure drill sergeant mode. Like, go, let's go. What are you doing? Stop. Whoa, well, don't run in the street. And that's kind of what having kids is like. You're just like your like free time is just completely just like nuked. Like, you know, when you're like an independent agent before children, you're like, you know, you're on this hopefully linear path towards like, I don't know, self-expansion. I want to get a better job, and I want to fucking have money, and I got to fucking blossom in a way that's acceptable by society and to myself, and I want it as much as I possibly can get. And you have this train running in your mind at 1,000,000 miles an hour, just like, yes, yeah, fucking let's go. Then you have kids, and it's just, you know, it's as if someone just on the tracks, you're like, oh, fuck, and you pull that thing to a halt. And then you're just left, you know, you're just like, you know, a rocket focusing towards basically selfish aims. You're like, oh, I need to do this for myself. Then you have kids, you're like, fuck, I don't have time for my own selfish aims anymore. What the hell? Now I feel shitty. And that's it. You're just like, oh, I never will really. Maybe like 20 years from now, I can, really focus the way I used to. And that causes grief in people. And I can understand that. And I felt that myself to a degree. But what happens when you have kids is like, so you're just never, so you go from like just fucking all day, every day, just being like, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? What do I want to do? And then it's just like, fuck. How do I keep these kids from falling down the steps and hurting themselves? And what is up with them? How are they feeling? Am I being nice to them? And like, you're just constantly thinking about other people, which is like, it's good, but in practice, it's actually very hard to do and very frustrating, which is like kind of sad and disappointing to say, but it's true. It's very hard, very frustrating. And, it's just the same fucking thing every day, just blah, 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 nonstop. And, you're going to school and you're like, please hurry the fuck up and get to school. And, so whatever. So I'm painting that whole thing just because, like, and it all ties into what I was saying before about obviously having a little winter in my mind. So I'm just kind of coming out of it. I'm taking my kids to school. I'm like, hurry the fuck up. I'm so close to dropping these guys off. I can go home. Like, I can work out, drink my coffee, my decaf coffee, by the way. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm about to have my day. I'm like, yes, let's go. I only have so many fucking hours in the day where I can actually get stuff done. So I gotta, you gotta go pick them up, blah, blah, blah. And we're going and we're late. And I have my youngest, my oldest ran off with her friend. She's heading to school. My youngest just stops. And I'm like, first of all, she just tried to run in the street. She had to be stopped. And then now that we're on the sidewalk, she just stops because she saw these little tiny flowers. And I forget the type of flowers they are. It's a kind of like a lilies. No, it's not a lily. I don't know. Actually, let me get a picture on my phone. This is actually important so you can picture the flower that I'm talking about. It's like a little kind of like wildflower kind of thing. I'm looking through my pictures right now. Here we go. What was this? Jasmine. Yes, it is a type of tea, but I don't think they make tea out of jasmine flowers. I think it's green tea. She pulls up this little she had stopped, and I'm like, what are you doing? Let's go. And she had been picking a flower, like quintessential, like, oh, I'm an adult, and I'm rushing, and you're, appreciating you're literally stopping to smell the roses or whatever. And I'm like, what are you doing? And, it's like, you just watch this little innocent being. She picked a flower and handed it to me. She's like, here, this is for you. And there's this little yellow jasmine, winter jasmine. And it's kind of like I was looking at it, and it like, the flower's a little beat up. It had some spots on it, and it's, I can still see it on my phone. And, it was this beat up little flower that had really caught her attention, and she gave it to me. And I'm like, I'm holding it, trying not to cry. I see it. I'm like, that's so fucking nice. And it's like, so that's the one thing. You're perpetually frustrated, and like, it's like you have this, like, your mind is an engine of just perpetual frustration a lot of the times with kids, but then that's halted with these like utterly sublime moments where you're like, what the fuck is this? This is beautiful. And then it's just like right back into it. It's like, hurry the fuck up. The fucking bell's ringing. What's up? Come on, let's fucking go. So that was my morning. I thought it was a good one. And I, on the way out of it, felt as if I had been lifted from the inner fog of whatever you want to call it, adhedonia, or whatever the fuck you want to call that. So that's that. That's the intro to my 10-minute blast. So, now that I'm back on my P's and Q's, there's this book I've been wanting to read for a while, and it's apparently notoriously difficult to read. So I'd put it off. I'm like, you open it up, you're like, man, I'm not dealing with this shit right now. So, but I have started to read it, and hold on, I gotta take a sip away from the mic. So I saw it. The book was just in my car. Actually, funny enough, my kid threw it at me while we were driving, which that's a big note. I tried to explain to her that like that could land under the brake and I can't stop and we're all gonna die. So I don't know if the message landed, but I was like, don't throw shit at me while I'm driving, please. You really can't do that. So, but weirdly enough, the book my daughter threw at me just the day before, I was like, oh yeah, I've been meaning to read that book. It was just sitting in my car. The book is called After Virtue by Alasdair MacIntyre, he was just like a philosopher in the 80s. And here's the thing. So before I even try to explain what the book's about, I know AI is like do you use it? Do you not? It's going to kill us. Is it the worst? Is it like humanity's salvation, whatever? I actually like it. I've been giving it a fair shot, and something that I've, just started doing with it is like if I'm reading a book that's kind of dense and like a little hard to understand, you can use like, Claude, whatever, all these chat bots to be like, hey, this is the book I'm reading. I want you to basically administer like college level tests so I can kind of make sure I can gauge my comprehension of the material. And so that's been pretty cool, man. You can go through a book and like, give me the background so I kind of know what I'm walking into, and I'm going to read a chapter, and I want you to give me like a blue book exam on the chapter that I can write answers to, submit, and kind of see how I'm doing, which I did. And I'm like, oh, it's pretty sick. You can build yourself out pretty much a whole course in whatever you want to do. So I like that. I think that's a cool use of it, and I personally enjoy it. If you're, if you're like, yeah, you're submitting information to the thing, and the robots are going to kill us. Hey, fucking, maybe you're right. Who knows, dude? I don't fucking know, but I like to kind of beef up my comprehension because I have a way of kind of like skimming through books and being like, cool. And now I'm able to be like, do I actually understand what the fuck this guy's talking about? Yes or no? So the book, I thought it's a really cool idea, and I think it's a very timely kind of idea. Alasdair MacIntyre, if I'm saying his name right, his book's After Virtue, and his whole central thesis is that the idea of morality and, virtue in our modern society has kind of eroded. Like, okay, so he starts the book like, and he's not saying that in like a doom and gloom or kind of like hellfire preacher way. He's very kind of like straightforward, cerebral academic guy, like in terms of like, is it working or not? Why isn't it not working? Blah, blah, blah. So the way he starts out is with a kind of thought experiment. He goes, imagine a society where science, for some reason in the future, science is blamed for society's ills, right? There's a climate catastrophe. So there's a bomb whatever. But people come together and go, like, pitchforks raised and say, fucking science is bullshit. Fuck science. And they kill scientists. They burn science books, destroyed laboratories so successfully that in time, the people of the future have kind of no real idea of like the context science existed in. Like, what was the purpose of it? How did people really use it? But in the future, they rediscover, quote unquote, science, but all they rediscover about science are more or less like buzzwords and terms that they try to, like, like kids reciting the periodic table without an understanding of like what elements really are, blah, blah, blah. And so in these future people in this, supposed kind of, model world, thought experiment world, use the terms of science, but they don't really understand what they mean and how they work. So what you end up with is a bunch of people quibbling and arguing over like kind of buzzwords that they don't understand. And, more importantly, using those buzzwords instead of for like the context of discovery of truth or like how to, manipulate material reality. They instead use those buzzwords to just kind of like promote their own selfish agendas, if that makes sense. And, so he hits you with that and he goes, and by the way, that's where we are with morality today. All of these, the world in which morality as we know it was built, and he goes back to Aristotle, obviously. Obviously, I love how I said that. I just found that out this morning. He goes back to Aristotle, and who, and this is just the introduction, so he doesn't really flesh this out. But he goes, humanity now, with morality, we've completely been cut off. Our ties to the original context in which morality was built has been severed for us. For most, let's say most people, okay? And all we're left with are kind of like the buzzwords and the ideas of morality, which we then use, and he uses the term emotivism, which just means that the highest principle to, let's say, moderns is their own wants, their own feelings, and their own needs. And then they take morality and use it as a sort of battering ram to program their own wants and needs into others, using oftentimes kind of guilt and like being like, why don't you just be a human and understand that, the thing I find most important is the most important thing, and it's a basic issue of morality. And he uses in the book later, I also watched a YouTube video that summarized this too. just so I can fully understand. He uses like abortion as the kind of example where it's like, pro-choice is like, hey man, we should have ownership over our bodies, which is a modern ideal. And if people are like, yeah, you fucking should. And then people say, well, if I have a fetus growing in me, I can just fucking terminate it. And then, the author's argument is like, well, according to like, let's say ethics or the self-ownership, whatever principles, that's actually a sound argument. But then on the flip side, you have people saying, hey, murdering people's wrong. Murdering specifically innocent people is wrong. And if you murder a fetus that could become a person, that's wrong. And he goes, that's also true. So you have these things that are both simultaneously true. And like, how do you possibly figure out how to kind of reestablish some sort of widely agreed upon moral framework that people can kind of, make decisions and go about their day-to-day lives in. And he doesn't, I just read chapter 1 and was tested by my AI chatbot on chapter 1. So it's not in chapter 1, but basically, and this is just me coming from a YouTube video that I watched, but I think it's actually a cool idea. Basically, the whole book is about learning how to rediscover the roots of modern morality, which he claims lies with Aristotle. And I'm trying to make sure I don't butcher this, but the general idea is that we've lost what he calls a teleological perspective, and all that. That's a fancy word. You can put that in your hat if you ever need it. But like that's like the telos is just like, what is the outcome? I think that's what it means. Telos is basically a goal. You know what I mean? It's just a sick fucking word you can say instead of goal. If you're trying to get pussy at college, say, well, teleologically speaking, I don't think we're aligned. It just means like we don't share the same goals. It's just a sick ass fucking word to use. So he's saying that morality back in the days of Aristotle was rooted in kind of like, how do I say this? What is the thing that if people do, brings about genuine human flourishing on a large scale? It's not what humans want. It's not what you want yourself. It's what is the thing that if everybody does this, humans genuinely flourish. And the example they use, at least in that YouTube summary, is like learning how to find the good inherent in whatever activity, whatever telos, whatever goal you have in life or whatever. He says the larger goal is finding what is the actual good in the thing you're doing. For instance, like the inherent good, I should say. Sorry, the inherent good. Like, say you're an accountant, right? You could say, I want to fucking make as much money as possible. And, so I can, I guess, get to the level of rich enough where I can all but not force, but like the fact that my wife wasn't having threesomes with me would be kind of ridiculous. Even though the fact that I'm going to have her have them with her best friend, which could complicate her friendship greatly because we're having threesomes now. That would be an external good as in the field of accounting, whereas an internal good would be, learning how to just within. It's not like an external thing that comes from being an accountant. It's a thing that happens internally where, like, say, you just really get a charge. You learn through years as an accountant. You get a charge off of helping people budget, save their money, and prepare themselves for the future. And even though you don't really get anything, you don't get your threesomes out of that or whatever with your wife and her best friend. You don't get that. But you get a inner spark happens. Even though you get nothing in a way, you still gleam, whatever. You still get joy out of this like inherent activity in the thing you're doing that is kind of enriching others around you. That's like, I don't know if I'm explaining that correctly. And again, obviously I'll read the book and I'll keep tuning in as to how but that's kind of the thing of like, morality was really never meant about private ends. It's about shared, objective goals of a entire civilization. It's kind of the glue that holds civilizations together. And MacIntyre's arguing that glue has dried, cracked, and turned to dust and blown in the wind. And we're out here kind of scrambling and using, the buzzwords inherent in the tradition of morality, which goes back thousands of years. And we are careening towards complete and total disaster because we're just all pretty much just selfish. We're pretty much all selfish agents who are kind of, and he kind of talks about this as well of like, we're all the main character in our own drama, but we're also, our drama is subsumed in other larger dramas that then we're part of, and then our dramas have other, and it's like, how do you really like, is there some sort of mental framework to navigate the modern landscape in a way that is good and enriching for both yourself and others? That's it. All right. So the book's pretty cool. I'll keep you tuned as to what I discover with it as I read it. But that's it. Just a quick 25-minute, 10-minute blast. And I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.